Hello friends, welcome to ADO.NET tutorial. In this video, we will see how to use the DataAdapter's fill method. So using this fill method, we can fill a data table. So this is the table design we have, the form design we have. So whatever you are seeing here is a list box. And this one is the DatagridView. So here we have SqlDataAdapter instance. We are creating that instance and we supply the select query here. Right? Select supplier ID, company name, city from suppliers. And in the properties, we are giving the connection string, and the connection string is coming from our application setting. And we are giving connection string for Northwind database. So in our select query, the table is a supplier and we are picking three columns: supplier ID, company name, as well as a city. Next, we create a data table and we are calling that instance as table here. Then using adapter, we already have adapter, right? The adapter knows what is the select query and where is the database. Using the adapter.fill method, we are filling the table. So here we are passing that table to the adapter. Right? Now adapter will fill this data table with three columns in it, as well as data. Right? First one is ID, second one is company name, and the third one is city. Next, we are coming to the ListBox portion. LST suppliers ID, that's the ListBox name here we are giving. Right? LST supplier ID dot data source table. So here we are giving this table. Table is already constructed here. That's the data table. And we are setting data source property of the ListBox to this table. But the table contains multiple columns. So we say display member has supplier ID, right? So that means we are giving this first column, supplier ID here, right? We specify data source and then we specify display member. That's why here the data table is displaying all the supplier IDs. Then we set the selected index as 0. So by default, the first item is get selected here. Finally, we make use of our grid view. So this one is the grid view, and for that grid view data source property, we are setting the table. Now grid view know how many columns to display, and the data also it knows, and it lists all the data. And if you look at the data grid view in the right side, you can see supplier ID, company name, and city all are presented in it. Now let's go to the demo. Here, from our previous example, we filled the data table, right, using in-memory data. So we cooked all this data and filled it. Now this time we will extend the example. So if you see, we placed some of the commands here, and we will explore this one by one. So for this example, we will click this button, show data adapter example, and there is a separate form for it. And as already told, in this form we have a list box. So we have a list box, and the list box name is LST suppliers. Then we have a data grid view, and it is GVD grid. So that's what we are naming it. And the controls we already know. In the previous example we saw where the DatagridView control exists. So if you expand data, you will see the DatagridView. So that's the control here. This is the ListBox control, which comes from common control category, right? And in the bottom we have the fill button, and the name here is CMD fill. Now we will handle this fill buttons event. So as already told, we are creating the SqlDataAdapter, and you can see the syntax here. First one is the select command text, and next one is the connection string. So this is our select string, then connection string, it is coming from our properties. So under properties, if I go to settings, we already have connection string defined, Northwind and pubs. The type is connection string, and it was already defined in one of our video. We talked about how to create this connection string, right? There is a builder for connection string. Once you build it, you can make use of this connection string inside the application. Next, as already explained in the PowerPoint slide, we create a data table, and using adapter.fill method, we are fitting the data table. And if you see, the fill method takes 4 overloads. So here we are using this is the first overload. It takes a data set. The second overload takes a data table, and we are using this second overloaded method because we are passing a data table. And there are other overload method also, right? Next, here we are taking our list box, and we are binding the data table and giving this supplier ID as the display member. Finally, we are binding the data table with the grid views data source. Alright, now we will run and execute it. So we need to launch this dialog from here. So this is our DataAdapter class, right? So we will create the instance of it. Then we will simply call dlg.show, or we can make use of show dialog also. So instead of show, we will use show dialog, so that the dialog will be in complete focus. Now here we launched our DataAdapter example dialog, and once you click the fill method, it will query the database and fills the content. Before that, let's go to SQL Server Management Studio. From our code, This is what we are selecting from the database, right? So the table is from Northwind, and these are all the data we are retrieving from the SQL server. So now we will click here, and you can see the similar data is returned and displayed in our DatagridView, right? So since both are data bound, when I click 13, here also the specific record will get selected, right? 23, you can see how it is working. It doesn't set any relation, but this is happening automatically based on the selected ID. Alright, that's all here in this video. Just now you saw the demo. Thank you for watching. Bye.